Hello, everybody. A warm welcome to everyone. Welcome to our lovely session that we have planned for you today. So, a good morning, a good afternoon, or a good evening, depending on where you are joining, which part of the world. And I hope that everybody is super excited because Emp Life Talks is back with a bang. And this is brought to you by employability.life. We have an amazing session planned for you today. I want everyone who's joining in to please let us know if you're able to hear us and where you're joining from. If you're joining from India, let us know which state. And if you're joining from anywhere else across the world, please let us know where. Also, is this the first time you're attending Emp Life Talks, or have you attended any of the previous sessions? Well, let's get started. Now, today we are here because we are going to talk about something which everybody's talking about, ChatGPT. When I talk about this, what do you think? Do you think ChatGPT is something I do not understand? Is it something that is going to take over the world? Well, let's find out. Now, when we talk about ChatGPT, what is it that we will be discussing? We'll find out soon enough. But before that, we have a poll and we should probably start with it now because I think a lot of you are already joining in. We already have 38 participants. So the question is, have you used ChatGPT? If it's a yes, go ahead and say yes. If it's a no, then let's say no. And in case there's any other AI that you have used, try putting it in the chat box and we'll see what everybody says. Okay, let's see. We have more people joining in. We're very excited to have you here. I think we'll let the poll be on the screen for at least a minute. So whoever's joining in, I will just repeat myself. We have an amazing poll on the screen for you, which is related to the topic of today, which is ChatGPT. And if you have used it before, go ahead and say yes. If you haven't, then say no. And if there's anything that you have used and any other AI, put it in the chat box. All right. I see the numbers going up. We already have quite a few participants. Now, I think we will start off. Now, the first thing that I should tell you is that this is Emp Life Talks. Anybody who's joining in later, this is brought to you by employability.life. My name is Sneha, and I'm a mentor with employability.life. And today we are here to discuss artificial intelligence. Now, in this session, we're talking about the breakthrough in artificial intelligence. ChatGPT, isn't it like a revolution? It can do everything. It can develop programs for you. It can write legal contracts. It can do 100 other things. Like, let's say you wanted to make a fitness plan for you. It could do that. And it could write a poem for you. It could do hundreds of other things. Now, not exactly correct all the time, perhaps, or exactly what you want, but extremely fast. So the question is, what do we need to do to succeed when AI can already do so much? We'll find out today from our guest. But before that, let's see the results of the poll. Hey, this is pretty balanced. I see a lot of you have used ChatGPT before, and that's absolutely wonderful. Now, time to introduce our guest. Today we have with us Dr. Karel Macek, who has studied artificial intelligence and theology. He holds a PhD in mathematical engineering. He worked as a high school teacher, metadata developer, gardener, life coach, consultant, research engineer in academia and industry, AI engineering, and AI architect. In all these jobs, he was passionate about planting natural talents to the highest potential. Most recently, he has joined employability.life as the CTO. Over to you, Karel.
Thank you, Sneha, for the introduction. Thank you, everybody, for coming and connecting. My pleasure to be here. Well, there are so many things going on. I will share my screen, and we have some slides for you. Well, so good. Speak primarily not about ChatGPT, but about the success of people who are potentially starting the career, maybe somebody who has already some work experience, and how to succeed under these circumstances. Sneha has provided some kind of introduction about myself, and let me come back a little bit to my kind of childhood. What was the thing that formed me? Well, as as somebody who, let's say, succeeded in the world of AI, I hold several international patents and other things, but it's not about that. Well, I would like to share with you two perspectives, and they are pretty personal to me. The first one is the principle of jungle. Well, principle of nature. You would wonder that the Jungle Book is very popular also in Europe, in Czechia. We give nicknames as boys and girls from this book. Well, I have friends who have nicknames Mowgli, etc. And we will speak more in details about this kind of principle. Well, about something what formed my life. And yes, well, I was given a nickname from my friends as Ka, as the snake, as the python. Well, another principle is the principle of flying bike. Well, it's from a story written in Czechia about a group of boys, and one of these boys was inventive. Well, he invented a flying bicycle. Flying bicycle is something what provides much bigger reach than a normal bicycle. Well, because you can see the world from a completely different perspective. You can do so many things that you were not able to do before. And it's innovation, technology. Well, and also what fascinated me on this story is that the guy was able to invent it on his own. Well, starting from something standard to something what is not at standard, something what is excellent. And the third principle, which is a piece of I think lives, is to find a spouse, to find a great family, which I have now, and now how this all fit together. Well, in the situation.
Yes. So,
Uh,
Karel, I was really happy to hear this. You know, we, even in India, we have watched Jungle Book quite a bit, and we relate to each of these characters. And I am really interested to find out how these things are relating to ChatGPT. And speaking
mhm.
of which, I would like to inform all of our attendees today, all of the learners, that we have a competition for you, about which I will tell you at the end of the webinar. So stick around, please, everyone, and I will tell you soon. Now, back to you, Karel. Could you tell us a little bit more about ChatGPT and perhaps
Well,
how this is related to it?
good. So maybe how to I will continue my story. Well, my story is continuing with the point that uh, let's say there is this math exercise. Well, and at the age when I was speaking about these two characters and the fairy tale about the princess, uh, I was asked my math teacher this question. Well, they are two shepherds. Uh, Somebody has 2 times more sheep than the other, and the other has 2 sheep less than the first one. What's the solution? Well, I was at this age, I solved that, and later on, I was really proud that I'm capable to do things like this. Well, uh, and I tried to chat GPT to ask the question. Well, and as you can see, it uh, it really does. Well, it really does solve the question that was asked. So I felt I'm the smart guy who can succeed in life, or is on the way to succeed in life. And now I see that there's a program that can do this smartness for me. Well, and it's a situation. It's a new situation when challenges like this can be solved. Not necessarily 100% of them, but many of them, and also with the explanation. Well, it was not just shepherd number 1 for shepherd number 2, 3. The complication is the following. Well, in 2022, there some professions were very well paid. Well, and people were proud. Okay, I'm able to be. I want to be a lawyer. I will earn money. A copywriter, a programmer, a marketer, a sales executive, many other jobs. Well, and now we have a different situation. Well, from the winning mood, maybe some people might have concerns. Well, if the puzzles I want to be paid for in the future can be solved by a machine, where is my place? Well, where is my place? It is really changing world. By the way, these icons you see here, now we spoke about that. Well, I didn't Google for this icons. Well, it composed PowerPoint itself for me. Well, these icons representing these jobs.
So are you saying that this was done by AI?
Yes, it was. Well, they have like some kind of text to image search
I see.
in the background, and it's connected to PowerPoint. Well, sometimes it's stronger, sometimes it's less strong, but here it really created these icons for me.
That's amazing. So I have one question here, which I believe everyone watching, especially our learners, also have. So you're talking about lawyers, copywriters, programmers, marketers, and sales executives, which is a lot of different types of jobs. And you're saying all of this, maybe an AI will be able to do. So does that mean that we are no longer employable as humans in these sectors?
And that's a great question now. Thank you for that. Well, I think that the professionals will be still important and necessary, but there will be a difference. Well, and I think we will come to it on the other slides. Well, so how to succeed? Well, because some people may adopt to a new environment, and some people would not. And I propose like two ways how to succeed. Well, how to be on the winning side of the game. And they are different but still very complementary. Well, they help each other. So the first way how to become a professional that will succeed in the super modern world is to be strongly rooted in the reality as it is. Well, in the non-digital reality. Let me share some details. Well, so the way number one is the jungle way, which means, for example, it has been scientifically proven that climbing trees boosts intelligence. Well, it helps special orientation and even the problem solving. Sounds ridiculous, a little bit it is, but if you have a problem, you don't have a solution, I challenge you, try to climb a tree, honestly. Well, I tried it several times and really it changes the perspective. It's different than just going for a walk. But still, well, there are also other things how to connect it with the nature. Well, and I read somewhere that building sand castles reduces distress. Well, and we are pretty distressed. Well, we have some obligations. We have a lot of news from the family and friends. Some of them are exciting in the positive way. Some of them are exciting in the negative way. Some of them are pretty boring, which is also like changing the emotional levels. And there are news, TV, etc. So we are exposed to a big portion of distress on these days, and it's gonna have to be better. And building sandcastles is something what is outside, outdoors. Well, so you are on the fresh air. You are not challenged to have some kind of brilliant results. You can build small, big. You can spend 5 minutes, 5 hours. You have a big portion of freedom. Well,
That's very true.
Somebody is more detailed, somebody is more like rather bigger objects. Someone wants to have it more decorated, someone wants to have it really more as a fort. So there is a big freedom, and really relieving distress in the ways that are connected to reality, to the nature, does matter. Well,
I agree to this, Carol, and given the fact that, a lot of students I've interacted with have told me that there's high levels of stress in their lives. And sometimes when you're trying to think of a solution or whatever, if you're stressed, you cannot come up with anything. So I believe what you're saying is the things that we kind of did as children, probably we should be doing again as adults, because it will help us
indeed,
to
well,
improve our intellect and everything. Now, I would like to say here that, I've already got a question from Arunanshu, and everybody else who has any questions, about whatever we are discussing, please put it in the comments. We will come back to it in the end. Absolutely, we'll have a Q&A. Back to you, Karel.
thank you, Sneha. Another thing, well, is walking. Well, I checked the list of people, of famous walkers and thinkers together. Well, Steve Jobs, Albert Einstein, Charles Darwin, Friedrich Nietzsche, and even Nehru are famous people, famous thinkers, not famous walkers, but they are known that they used to work intellectually while walking. Well, and it relates also to other things that are related to the purpose of human brain. The brain in animals and humans originally is not because of thinking about solving mathematical equations, designing software, translating from language A to language B, writing software, writing any documents. No, the primary purpose of human brain is movement, to coordinate the movement. So if we activate our bodies for the movement, for the very natural and very first purpose of our neural system, it will help us also with the distress and also with finding the solutions. Another thing is crafts of any kind. Well, putting things together can be carpentry or anything else, or tailoring. If you can do something with your hands, it boosts your imagination. You know how to put things together, how things depend on each other, how the materials are different. Well, and if somebody is able to build a table or a chair, it is actually not a bad prerequisite to design also more sophisticated systems. Well, such as in the civil engineering or software engineering or whatever organizational structure. You will have the feeling or the intuition about how things are connected in reality. And one more thing is nobody knows how the market or how the job market will evolve. And I know also some pretty successful software engineers who switched their career from software engineering to crafts. Well, one of them is, for example, really a carpenter, very successful one, very rich one, and he enjoys the work. Something similar is about patience. We are exposed to so many things that are related to instant gratification, instant positive experience. Well, you go to Instagram, you see some nice photos, you go to YouTube, you see some nice videos, you etc., etc. You are exposed to so many experiences that are kind of interesting, positive, but in the real life, in the job life, things last time. And a way how to form our internal intuition is planting. Well, planting plants like vegetables, whatever. And again, similar to the previous one, it can be handy in the hard times even. Well, because nobody knows. Well, and the connection to nature is helpful at this point.
Yes, I think we had a lot of instances, especially during the lockdown, during COVID, where people kind of branched out, used their extra time to perhaps do things like planting or cooking, as we were talking about it.
Exactly. Well, exactly. I think it was everywhere that people had no chances to go to parties, and they had a party with their tomatoes and potatoes. Well, good. Something pretty related is cooking. Well, cooking boosts the quantitative skills. Well, even when forming the pre-mathematical thinking for children, it's very good. Well, you have countable eggs, uncountable water, and many other ingredients. You have the recipes, which are algorithms. They are algorithms in some sense. You have to be very attentive to timing. You might be also attentive to budget and so on. Well, so cooking is very good for the quantitative thinking and intuition. And also it is a good experience of delivering something. Well, because if somebody has to write a master thesis, 50 pages, it's a long-term goal. Well, it lasts some time, and the positive feedback is not coming so frequently. Well, if you cook something which is tasty, you feel, okay, I can do things well, and this experience of I am able to do things, complete things, finish things, Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. It's really building the internal resources to distinguish, well, good and bad. Distinguishing good and bad is very important for decision making. There are many philosophical and religious systems that offer some values, well, and the values are very important for the flexibility at decision making. If I know that, mm, if I know how to decide between good and bad in various situations, I can decide quickly. And today we have so many options, so many options. I can do this, I can check this. Also at school, at work, in family, I have so many projects and I will need to prioritize. And knowing how I can decide every second, I will deliver much more because people are overwhelmed by the multitude of options. Sneha.
Absolutely. I agree to that. So what I am understanding, if I'm understanding correctly, is that, whenever we think about skills, intrinsic skills, as we call it,
Right.
the ones which we kind of have innate, if we want these to develop, it's not that we always have to go out and look for something specific. We can use activities in our day-to-day lives to kind of help increase our intelligence or our mathematical skills, even unrelated activities, as you're saying. So
Absolutely.
maybe
Well,
even when we pursue our hobbies, for instance, and we enjoy something, doing it better will just help us not just develop that particular skill, such as cooking, but then, if you think about it strategically, what's my first step? What's step number 2? What's step number 3? That's really amazing. Thank you. That was a good insight. So what else do you
good,
think we could
good,
do?
good. Maybe one remark here. All things we discussed so far are about something what was here 1,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, and it was valued, and it is going to be valued more and more. Well, because we can imagine that as a stick. Well, the longer will be the part of the technology, the longer has to be the part of the intrinsic skills to keep it balanced. Well, and so far we spoke about the intrinsic skills and how to boost them.
Mm.
So not necessarily you have to take some extra training for mathematical intuition. Maybe I would recommend you really go and build a sandcastle or cook something instead of playing on your mobile phone some kind of quantitatively oriented game. Well, because
True.
if you really want to be prepared for the future, this is, according to my opinion, this is the way. Well, it doesn't mean that we should not use the modern things. Well, the fact that our participants are coming online means that they are most likely not farmers who are living just from what they have planted. They are open to technology. They are students. So let's speak about the tools that can be helpful. Well, and it's a selection, may not be complete, but it's a selection of tools that I find really useful, and I use them. I really use them for my work, and I find them helpful.
And do you know, Karel, it's worth mentioning here. I've seen a lot of I've traveled a little bit to particular areas, and I've seen a lot of farmers who are very happily using technology. They'll use this particular app to figure out which plants to go ahead for, which seeds. And so if you can imagine the penetration of technology, I'd say it was everywhere, in every sphere, for everybody.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I was just thinking about somebody who is intentionally living in a
Oh,
completely
yes,
off technological
absolutely.
space as a ascetic monk or something like that. Well, that was my idea. Maybe not communicated properly. Well, but definitely, even farming is subject to so many things, and I have seen a very interesting talk about that, like to optimize the. How to optimize farming. Well, because there
Yep.
is so many chemicals and other things that are wasted, and farmers has to pay too much because the proper planning is or watering well is also something what needs or what can be optimized like with mathematical approaches. So absolutely, it's a very interesting field. But let me share some more common things that I would relate to the principle of the flying bike. Well, something what extends our possibilities. Well, The first tool I would like to mention is Clockify. Well, Clockify is good for time tracking on what you are doing. Well, it's good for time tracking if you have a job, remote job, to know, okay, how much time I've spent working on something. But it's also good for your personal purposes, and also to time block your activities. Because if you can time block your activities, you can concentrate better. Well, if you switch from one thing to the other thing, it's not good. Well, in Clockify, you click there, fine, I'm now working on this homework for this subject. Well, so I want to know how many hours I have spent on this subject. Well, for preparation on the exam or for whatever else. So time tracking helps also saying, fine, I have now 30 minutes, 1 hour, and I want to do this. Well, and it's like also a little bit a contract between myself and myself, that I will do something. Well, and I will not jump to Instagram, LinkedIn, anywhere else. Well, so tracking the time is good, and time blocking is even better. Sneha, I suppose you as mentor, you meet so many people who are saying, I cannot concentrate, I don't know how to
Yes.
finish.
Absolutely,
Well,
you're right. There's a lot of times, when we kind of try to focus on things that we wish we could do a little bit better, perhaps, as sometimes we term it as a weakness. A lot of times, students tell me that, I know I have to get this job done, and I know I have to do it maybe in the next 10 days. But you know what I will do? I'll sit till the ninth day, and then I will stay up all night. So there's a lot of, instances where we've had procrastination, which we do sometimes, which I feel you're right. If we have a sort of time blocking where we take down the topmost list of tasks and we prioritize it and then use something, even if you use an app for tracking that time, that would be the perfect way to go about it.
good. I see that time is pretty running, so I will speed it a little bit more up. Another thing is planning. Well, there are some Kanban-oriented tools, and with employability.life, we are going to offer this experience on scale. Planning is important for flexibility. Some people may see some kind of tension between planning and flexibility. Well, if I plan something, I'm not flexible. I have a rigid idea about the future. The opposite is the truth. If I have the plan, I can adapt better because I know what I have to change and what I can keep. If I don't have the detailed idea about what I want to do, I cannot change that at that quality. Another thing I wanted to mention is Grammarly. Well, it's a really nice tool, and not only the spell check. Well, the spell check comes from many other directions, but what I really value here is the conciseness. Well, that Grammarly shortens your sentences to the point without anything like, would you mind to meet me possibly tomorrow if you would be okay with that? Would you meet? Let's meet tomorrow. Okay. Well, we have to respect the reader, well, and respect the time that the reader has.
So shorter
But
and concise sentences.
yes,
So
well,
we see
good.
a lot of tools today, and I would like to really encourage all of our learners, whoever's attending the session today, if any of you are already using any of these tools, please let us know in the chat box. And if you have any other suggestions which it will help others, please let us know. So all your friends can benefit from whatever we're learning today. Yes.
Thank you, Sneha. Well, another thing more for the software-oriented people is Tab9 is a kind of smart auto completion that can automatically complete for you even like 3 lines of code without without you have to know the library that is used there. Well, I tried to introduce my wife to machine learning, and she told me that machine learning is nothing but just the tab key, well, the auto completion. Well, just you type something and then you hit tab and it completes the rest. Well, and this is the Tab9 is like one level higher. Well, another thing is Google Scholar. Well, I would really like to encourage you to use it for getting answers to your questions. Well, like what are the factors that influence market behavior if you sell some sustainable agriculture products? in North India. Search
Right.
for that. Well,
Absolutely
search
correct.
for that. You will get a lot of PDFs with quality. You don't have to read it from the very beginning to the very end, but you will see that there has been so much intellectual potential invested in many directions, and it's much, in some sense, it's much better than the general internet where you get some information from some random forums. I have the opinion. No, this is the opinion that is coming from the kind of proven academic records. It can vary, but the quality is rather higher. Well,
I agree to this, Carol. And the fact that, we have students who are maybe working on a research paper or something like that. I think one of the problems a lot of them have shared with me is that, we just go and type it on Google and then we have to sort through tons and tons of information, most of which is not relevant to my research because this is slightly more academic, perhaps. So what I also suggest, which I have also used myself, is guys, go to Google Scholar. This is the best place where if you're searching for something more specific to your academics, you will get something more suitable here. Research papers from journals and such like, which you can even reference in your paper, isn't it, Karel?
or even you should, well, reference if you use
Absolutely.
it well. And one more thing which is pretty important and people don't know it, and it's quite clear. If you see some article like that, you see also the names and surnames of the authors and their affiliation and their emails, and you can contact them if something is not clear. And you would be surprised that the professors from anywhere, they would be extremely pleased if somebody from a different country is coming back and asking, hey, Professor XYZ, I'm reading your article and I really don't understand paragraph number 4 or section number 4. Would you mind having a 30 minutes call to share things about that? I'm working on a research paper too, based on your work. And I'm thinking that you might be a co-author of my part of my paper if you would like to. Well, you would be surprised that like every second professor will reply in a very positive way. Well, and it will help with you the quality of the outcome and also with your network. Well, good. Another thing is automation of unnecessary stuff. There are tools like Power Automate or Python. It's good to think about it. If you do something what you don't like, think about the way how you can get rid of that. The machine translation is also interesting, especially for people having as a first language, as a mother tongue, something else than English. Not always it is important to challenge ourselves to type everything like really, I know how, I have some level of English, I can do it. Well, for me, English is not the first language, as you can hear. It is so important sometimes to say, I have to complete this email in 5 minutes and I really want to go to the point. I will write it in my mother tongue, which is Czech in my case, and then I will let it translate and I will check if the outcome is good. Well, because it again relaxes our brain. We can concentrate on the point. Sometimes, or in the majority of cases, it's good to write things on our own, but sometimes it's good to, fine, I want to tell a story and I'm telling the story like this, and I don't want to use my maybe a little bit limited vocabulary. I want somebody to help me with that.
This sounds like a wonderful idea, and it makes me think, I'm just wondering, so all of our participants who are there in the video today, the webinar today, do let us know what is your mother tongue, and have you used any of these tools that Karel is talking about to translate? So my mother tongue is Bengali, and yes, I do sometimes use translate if there's any word I do not understand. So any other tools that you could tell us about, Karel?
Well, our colleague Nari, she told me, hey, Karel, DeepL is too Eurocentric. Well, it's not the majority of your audience. So I used ChatGPT and I asked, well, and this is the outcome. And you can see how it works. Well, so ChatGPT helps us a lot. Well, so even with questions like this, with detail and so on. Of course, you can Google for that, but it will last some 10 minutes, 5 minutes to get an answer like this. In this case, it was like 10 seconds to write and 10 seconds to read. Well,
So are you saying that ChatGPT is slightly more human as compared to just searching on Google?
Well, it has the conversational like API. Well, so
True.
it's not based on keywords. It's based on like what you are writing. Well, and can really, you can also maintain the conversation. So here I can go on and say number 3, translate now. Tell me what languages are supported by translate now, because the detail is not here. Well, so I can continue the conversation. Well, so it knows what was asked before and it goes on. Well, so like that. So GPT is something what is strongly present, as you mentioned in the very beginning. It can do so many things. It can create codes. It can write contracts. Well, I have to job descriptions. Well, give me job description for somebody. It can create outlines for master thesis. Well, a friend of mine was discussing with me his master thesis. I told him data engineering in insurance. Well, and I asked ChatGPT compile outline, a detailed outline for this thesis. It was there. Well, and I had no need to change anything there. So
I think what you're saying is that ChatGPT is more like an assistant or something that you could use as a tool in your professional life rather than something that's here to take away your job, if I'm
yes,
understanding correctly.
yes, you can imagine that it's like you can walk some distances, but you can also take the flying bike. Well,
Exactly.
you are still kind of in charge of the outcomes. So if your professor or your boss asks for a program, you are responsible for the quality of the delivery. Well, and it's like a goal that you have to reach, and you can reach the goal by walking or by using the flying bike.
So thank you, Karel. That was actually very insightful. I would like all of our learners here to let us know in the chat box what you thought about all of the tools that we shared. And so now putting it all together, I think what I've understood and what I have, realized from our conversation is that, of course, on one hand, you have the intrinsic skills which you must build, but in today's day and in the changing workplace, it's more relevant if you could also, pick up a bit on how to use the tools that are available to you to make your work easier, faster. And so Chat GPT is also one of those tools and not something here which is, going to drive everybody out of employment. But at the same time, one should have the willingness and the eagerness to try and learn more about these tools and to use them. Is that what you think?
Well, Sneha, maybe one comment to this. We mentioned some technology that I find useful, and we discussed that well. And so these are the technologies that are known to be useful at like delivery in terms of school, university, work. Even it can compose poems for you. Well, if you wish. Well. Uh, There are also some other technologies that are not listed here, and I would like to mention them. Well, so if you really want to destroy your employability, if you really want to really organize a funeral of your professional future, get addicted to Facebook, Instagram, porn, and other things like that. Well, your focus will be distracted, your outcomes will be very low quality, and you will not succeed. Well, and to succeed in the world of so many interesting kind of little interesting things, little sweets, well, is to important form internal resources and use the tools that are helpful. Well, if you want to win a battle, you need to have a proper sword and not like lollipop.
Yes, so you need to have the correct tools. Now, I think we will start looking at the questions that have been coming in. Now, the first question I see here is from Arunangshu, and he says, what will be the role of a CA or a CS or a CMA? Will their job be impacted by Chat GPT or the oncoming wave of artificial intelligence?
CS is
That's company secretaryship.
Company, sorry.
Company secretary.
Company secretary.
Yes, that's right. So I think what he wants to know is about, chartered accountants and more about the financial profiles. So do you think AI will impact their jobs in any way?
It may simplify some things. Well, I've seen that. I guess Microsoft has already some. I don't know whether I fully understand the job we are speaking about. Well, but if we speak finance, there are already ways how to generate some reports based on conversational input. So please give me the overview of salaries in region 1 and region 2 and how it is evolving over the last 12 months. Well, and it can generate you based on this textual or even oral input. It can generate you some dashboard indicating this. So there are these tendencies. So I think the general principle is that the jobs will stay, but will be delivered more efficiently with less annoying work. Well,
So, yes. So what you're saying is the roles or the tasks that these professions have to do, specifically in the area of finance, will probably get a lot of help in the execution of their day-to-day activities
right.
if they have AI. Perhaps they could automate the task or they could get information a little bit faster. But at the end of the day, I believe the human is still required.
Yes, we are well, to some extent. Well, we are experiencing this, for example, with organizing business trips. Well, 3 decades ago, if you wanted to fly from somewhere to somewhere else, you had to ask somebody, an office manager, to organize it for you, or you have to ask a travel agent, etc. Today, I booked my flight to London in like 3 minutes. Well, and it was late afternoon and I was very tired. Well, 3 minutes. So so the general digitalization is going to continue here. So some things will get simplified, and there is still, I think, a lot of needs, because the human appetite for something is never ending. Well,
True,
you
very
know it,
true.
everybody knows. If you complete something, you want something extra. You have a car, you want to have a better car. You have a wife, you want to have a kids, you etc. Well, so it's never ending, So don't think that people will stop having needs. Well,
Yes. Now, coming to the next question from Abhay, he says, how will the students be benefited by AI? And what impact will it have on artists or people who perform the same exact task? So I think what he's trying to say is that, if I am someone who does a repetitive set of tasks every day, so
mhm.
will AI impact me in any way?
Well, what we pay also, let's speak about food. Well, what we pay for food in a good restaurant is the authenticity. Well, is the authenticity the first part, the jungle part, well, that you have the real touch with the spices, with the vegetables, with all the ingredients, and that somebody prepared it for you like just a few minutes ago, and then you have the restaurant and you can enjoy also the atmosphere. This is what you are paying for. Well, and in arts it is going to be similar. Well, so instead of having some instant noodles where you just open the packing and you pour some water and you have a dinner, as especially when I look back in my university studies, pizza, energy drinks, and this was the food. Well, uh, but it's different. Well, so artificial intelligence is artificial, well, as an instant food. So the authenticity of arts will evolve, and I think that I can expect that it will bring much more creativity, much more connecting, maybe some contradictions. Well, so saying, fine, dear ChatGPT, I'm about to prepare a performance, and I would like to discuss the traditional religions and the LGBT community, and it should be in a positive and friendly way, and there should be some really smart idea in the end. Give me some inputs. Well, and it will give me some inputs, and I will say, no, 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 I don't like this. Well, so it's a partner, it's a buddy for me, where I can really organize my thoughts step by step. And if I want to have a conversation at 2 a.m.
Understood.
ChatGPT will not tell me, hey, Karel, I'm tired. No.
So somebody is there for us. Now, I've got this really interesting question, which says, can we help ChatGPT enhance itself? And
we do. We are doing it already. Well, they kind of use the data for improving, of course, in kind of anonymized way, but they collect the data. Well, so if you say thank you, they remember that. There is also this like thumb up and thumb down icons, and if you click on one of them, it also asks like what worked and why. Well, you don't have to fill it out, but they collect the feedback.
so the feedback that we keep providing is kind of helping ChatGPT learn.
And one more thing, not for ChatGPT, but also in general, is much more indirect, but still very important, is what you publish. Because the internet is very open to all these robots and many others to come. If you have an opinion and you really pour it into the water of the whole sea, it's maybe a little influence, but you are already providing kind of answers. Well, and when these machines are searching through the internet and they are building their knowledge base, they can take it. Well, and even if you take something what was created in the conversation with ChatGPT, for example, and you publish it on your blog, you provide some kind of authorization, some kind of personal authorization. Karel, I want to, this is my opinion, and I authorize it by publishing. Well, and then later, indirectly, these machines, including Google search, can benefit from that. Well, so.
That's absolutely wonderful to hear. I think we've got a lot of insights today. I will take just maybe 2 more questions, and then we will have to wrap up our session.
Sure.
So one question I see here is from Rahul, and he says, as you know, AI is kind of rising up and it's getting smarter, and now we can find any query through ChatGPT. So in the coming years, will a lot of people become jobless? Will AI replace human? I think I would like to answer that, Rahul. I heard something very interesting from Karel the last day, and he said, you know, professionals who are using AI and ChatGPT will replace professionals who are not using it. So it's a matter of a person using a technology and excelling in it, which gets you ahead, rather than, you know, a humans being replaced in the workplace completely by AI. I do not foresee that right now. And the next question is, yes.
Sneha, just a very short remark. It's also about accountability. Well, because the machines, it's a broad philosophical question, but the machines cannot hold the legal accountability. And if that's so, true. It would be pretty complicated. Like that. Well.
Yes. And I think a lot of questions that we have here are talking about software development professionals and whether they will be adversely affected or positively affected by ChatGPT, which I believe, as you've already said, that, you know, you can use ChatGPT in your day-to-day work, and in fact, it enhances your performance overall.
Yes, I think there are 2 things. First is that it can help with like delivering some work. Well, I want ChatGPT, I need a solution of this kind of equation, give me a function solving that. Well, but also like seeing like and reviewing these kind of examples, I learn the language. Well, so I can become more proficient on my own. Well, so after some kind of conversations, I can reach to some point saying, okay, I will not ask, I will do it from scratch. Well.
Yes, absolutely. I think we've answered a lot of the questions that are here already. Now, coming back to this question, I would like to know if there is any scope of cybersecurity in future, or will AI be used for it? So what do you think?
It is already used. Well, I read that ChatGPT can check your code and tell you the vulnerabilities at the quality of professionally provided products.
And this last question from Pratham, who says, I am more concerned about Google's upcoming AI than ChatGPT. What are your thoughts?
Google Ads. Google Ads is based on AI. Well, they are pretty personalized. You know it well. If my wife is celebrating birthday or we celebrate the anniversary, I want to buy something for her. I take her laptop, I open Google Chrome, I go to any website like news, and I look for the advertisements there, and I exactly know what to buy for her. So it is very personalized. Absolutely, it is. And I would say maybe in the future we can expect the higher level of personalization. I personally would appreciate, well, because if somebody would understand really my needs and not like my quasi needs, it would be good. Well, if somebody would recommend me a good book that will help me at my job, I can appreciate it. But at the moment, I'm getting like every 10th advertisement is really useful for me. Wow.
Thank you, Karel. Now, I think what I would like to point out is that there have been two types of questions I've got about whether it's going to be helpful for any particular field. Like, I've got one which says completing Bachelor of Pharmacy. Am I going to be able to use AI? So I believe this is going to be relevant for every single sector or every single field of academia. And for every other question, there's one.
You have to try and see. Well, see, double check with your professor. Hey, these are the ideas coming from there.
Yep. Absolutely. Thank you, Karel. That was very insightful. Now, my closing comment is that Shreya Pal, you say that you're from India, you're pursuing BCom. Your question about what you want to pursue after graduation and basically what you want to do in terms of career development, please stay tuned. We have a lot of amazing webinars coming up, and I'm sure in the future Life Talks, you will be able to get better answers for this question. Now, as I had pointed out in the beginning, we have an amazing contest, and I would like to tell you a little bit more about this contest. Now, if you are aware, on our Instagram page, we have an amazing contest going on. But before that, I would like to tell you that the previous winner, let's see, Karel, could you please stop sharing so I could show everyone who the previous winner was? Thank you so much. Let me quickly show everyone. So this is Dhimant, and he's the previous winner of our competition. So what happens is you will see there's a post on Instagram. I'll show you very soon what it is. And once you go and comment on it, the best comment gets a prize and you get a Learner for Life t-shirt, as you can see over here. Now, let me show you what exactly it is that you will see on Instagram. Now, the question is, what is the one question you would ask ChatGPT? So you have only one question and you have to tell us what is the question. So the most interesting answer is going to get selected and you are going to get a Learner for Life t-shirt. So now let me share in the chat box the link to our contest. Everybody, please go and check it out on Instagram. Do let us know as well in the comments how you like today's session. Thank you so much, Karel. Now, before we end, I would like to tell everyone that the next Life Talks is going to happen on the 2nd of March. And the topic is, what is Industry 4.0 and how to become successful as an employee or as an entrepreneur? So everybody, please stay tuned and we will see you again on the 2nd. Please let us know in the comments how you've enjoyed today. Thank you very much. I see a lot of comments coming in from Debayan, from Rajesh, Shreya. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending. Please let your friends know so the next time when you come in to watch an Life Talks, you can all watch it together. And oh, I see comments that say it was amazing. Thank you, Ritika. That's amazing. Nice of you to say that. Thank you, Rohan. Thank you, Pratiksha. Thank you, Dimple. Okay, now there's a huge number of comments coming in. I don't think I can take everybody's name individually, but I'm trying to read like AI. Himanshu, Neha, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Please, please remember that once you end this video, you will be getting a survey. Please do fill it in. Give us your suggestions and your feedback so that we can make this session even better for you. Thank you everyone for attending.